Hiya. Welcome to this episode of Your Human Design Coach podcast. Your quote for today: Imagine that you are standing on a theater stage. If the house lights are on, you'll probably be able to see all the way to the back of the hall. But if you're under a bright spotlight, you won't be able to make out even the front row. That's exactly how it is with our lives. It's because we cast a dim light on our entire lives that we are able to see the past and the future, or at least we imagine we can. But if one is shining a bright spotlight on here and now, one cannot see the past or the future anymore. Okay, so today we are having a beautiful conversation with Sonja Holt-Cartwright. Sonja is a coach that I recently connected with through the International Coaching Federation. I haven't yet connected with a ton of ICF coaches who are using human design in their coaching. So we were really excited to connect and get to know each other a bit, as we'll talk about in this call. But asked Sonja to come in because I feel like the things she's doing with human design in her leadership development work and coaching is just really interesting. I just feel really excited about the perspective that she's bringing to this world and the way she's bringing in different tools to just deepen and enrich her work with leaders and with clients. So a little bit about Sonja. Sonja J. Holt-Cartwright is a restorative well-being and leadership strategist, human design coach, and creator of Restorative Pathways, a liberation-centered ecosystem supporting individuals in restoring alignment, reclaiming identity, and living beyond survival. She is the architect of the Stages of Liberation, a human development system rooted in the belief that everything you need is already inside of you, and that human design is one of the most powerful maps for finding your way back to it. Through her methodology, Leadership is Liberation, Sonja integrates human design with restorative practice and ancestral wisdom to guide people from survival-based functioning into purpose-driven, legacy-rooted living. She is a certified professional coach, Maxwell Leadership Team member, and co-author of Gray Skies Over Darkness. So, again, how lucky am I that I get to have these amazing conversations? And really, how lucky are you that you get to listen? So enjoy this one. Let's jump in. All right. Hello, Sonja. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ashley. Thanks for having me. How are you today?
Yes, I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Amazing. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I would love to have you just tell us about yourself, what you
Oh,
do.
well, I like to say I teach people how to restore their self-leadership and remember who they truly are. And as a restorative well-being and leadership strategist, what I do is I guide individuals and organizations, right, through leadership development, identity restoration, emotional awareness, and teaching them how to have sustainable well-being. And so essentially, I support individuals that are experiencing survival, right, and helping them move beyond that survival and that burnout into a place of more clarity and leadership that is aligned, right, both personally and professionally. So that's what I do to do my part to help humanity.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. How did you find yourself drawn to this work or in this work?
Ooh. It evolved. I evolved into this work, right? For years, I did work in trauma-informed care, domestic violence. I ran a nonprofit. I worked in human services and also in my own healing journey, right? The evolution of me. And through my personal healing journey, I've been an advocate for years, advocating those that experience domestic violence, but helping them in their healing journey. But also alongside them and helping their healing journey, I realized I was also doing my personal healing journey or going deeper, right, into my own healing journey until I got to a point where I kind of outgrew the work that I was doing in that space. And the work evolved because I had evolved. And so my personal evolution, right, of who I had become, I had outgrown who I was. And that deeper work that I was led in to do, which was more soul work, and I started doing soul work, and that led me to the restoration of my identity and connecting pieces. It led me into a space of a spiritual awakening that led me into my true self, right? My identity of who I truly am, releasing the things that no longer served me, things that I had attached my identity to that I was not.
Mm.
Right. And so in that evolution through my evolving, this work gave form and birth. And so this is what I understand now that I am here to do. What my mission here is to teach identity restoration through self-leadership, through liberation as leadership.
Sign me up.
Come on over, hun. Come
Wow.
on over.
Wow. Sign us all up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing that. I resonated with so much of what you just said, but yeah, that just as your own evolution takes place, like, side by side with the people you're supporting, being able to honor that and grow and change in the ways that you want to support others to do. Yeah, that was really, really, really cool to hear. And then maybe it would be helpful to just say quickly how we got connected because I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I saw your post. You posted in one of the groups in the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, in one of the chats about human design. And I got so excited because I had never seen anyone in the professional space, right, talking about human design and using it in their professional coaching. Of course, there are individuals that are human design coaches, but it was just very refreshing. And so when I saw it, I immediately was like, yes, I use it. And so yeah, so we had a conversation that led to here we are.
Here we are.
And here we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and ICF has that platform of Engage where it's kind of the intercoach
Yeah.
network behind the scenes. Like, yeah, I was like, "Oh, hello, fellow ICF certified human design enthusiast. Let's talk." So,
Yes.
yeah, and definitely in that first conversation, I was like, "Oh, I want to talk more and I want to do it on the podcast. Let's get some other people in listening."
Yay.
Well,
I
thank
love
you again so much for being here and for saying yes to that connection. And maybe just that's a good segue into telling us a bit about, your human design profile and what human design
it.
is meant to you in your life.
So I am a 5-1 sacral generator, and I discovered my human design by accident about maybe it was recently, maybe 3 years ago, and just kind of bumped into it. And once I read it, it fascinated me because I love all things human development. And so pulling my chart, and it didn't mean much to me at the time, but what I was reading felt good. I knew that
Mm,
what I was reading felt good to me, and I felt seen. And so learning more about my design, I had already been, following astrology, and love astrology. I love all the ology, right? So this just kind of fell right in line. But once I really started understanding it, it lined right up with where I was at the time and kind of what I was going through coming into this mid-century portion of my life. The more I started digging in, I realized, wow, this is true. This is really like who I am. It made 120% sense. And bringing my sacral to trust my gut as incorporating it more into that journey that I was on, listening to self and understanding for me my sacral is my voice. It is my guide, and
mm.
I follow her immensely. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's so spot on as someone who also has a sacral authority of like a guide and the voice. Did you feel that you already kind of knew that and it just gave you a deeper language for it or what role did that gut response play in your life previously?
So I've always been one I could feel. I know intuition, right? I've always known that I've had intuition and that my intuition was pretty deep. It's also something that I had shied myself away from, right? My knowing and trusting myself and trusting that gut when I feel it. And so reading my chart and knowing, no, this is your thing. Like this is the thing that you should be listening to. It just validated for me and confirmed that the things that I had been feeling were true. They were real. That is my true design, that is how I am wired, right, to operate, that's how my energy flows, that is how I connect, that's how I my soul speaks to me. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. My soul speaks to me. That resonates deeply. Yes, clearly that sacral is, has been a strong part of this human design discovery for you. Are there any other pieces that you find yourself leaning into day to day or in your work?
Probably all of it, really, and understanding just the different pieces, understanding when fear, might be tapping in, when I might be leaning more into thought or headspace, my which channels are open, and but more importantly, knowing when I am pulling energy from somewhere else, right, outside of myself. And I think with the healing that I have done and just being able to connect and balance myself, it's help with those channels. All right. It's helped kind of close those channels that were wide open and more
Yeah.
susceptible to things and just understanding them more.
Yeah, I think that is such a helpful thing to share and way to put it,
Mm.
of closing those things wide open. It's like recognizing that I don't know, for me that's been something that has been helpful in my as I go deeper with human design of like seeing the white on your chart and being a little bit like, what do I do? Conditioning or open to others' energies, but recognizing like within everything there is wisdom and then it kinda takes it back to what you just shared about authority, because to me, I always say, like, it comes back to the authority. Like, if I am listening to that, to my gut, to my soul's voice, I'm gonna
Mhm,
be using that one for sure.
mhm.
That alignment is just feels so much more natural and easy.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And just
yeah.
understanding that I think, when it comes to our human design and understanding our human design, that those pieces and kind of like what you just said, like you see the white and it's like, oh my God, what do I do with this? Like, what do you mean I'm wide open? So I think understanding those things and looking at it as opportunities to help bridge it, right? What do I need to do to bridge it versus it being something to be afraid of because it's not a bad thing. It's just an area that to pay some attention to. What's there that I look at them as for me, everything is a healing opportunity. So what is there, right, that can be touched? What needs to be paid attention to, so that it doesn't affect in the way that you don't want it to.
Yeah, what came to mind as you were talking is like it's possibility. It's
Mhm.
possibility of opportunities for healing, for growth, but also like collaboration and who am I
Yeah.
drawn to and who do I talk to on a forum and then have another conversation and have another, it just
Mhm.
allows you to get to pay attention to whose energy is helping you bridge those gaps, like you said.
Yeah.
So very cool. And I was so interested, you shared a bit about kind of how you're bringing human design into some of the work you're doing in your business and your coaching. I think that would be really interesting to hear more about here.
Yeah. So I use human design actually in a couple of ways because I have kind of two different sides to my business. So there's the personal side, working with individuals and groups, and then there's the corporation and the corporate side, working with organizations and more in the professional space. But I bring human design into both avenues because at the center and the core is still self, right? So leadership, right? I focus on self leadership. And so bridging in the professional space, bridging human design and the concepts of the identity triangle and the areas of capacity and how we show up, how we exert our energy, and how we sustain our energy, right? But how that incorporates into how we lead ourselves. right? If we don't have the capacity to lead ourselves, then we have less capacity to be able to lead others well, right?
Mm.
I.e., if we have too much on our plates, right? If we are consistently saying yes, if we are consistently overextending ourselves and putting more on ourselves, thinking that we have the ability to hold more, but maybe that particular operating style, right? Their energy type, maybe that particular energy type is not the one that is able to go, 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 but we all think that we should be the ones to go, 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 go. So teaching individuals to understand that we all have different operating styles and it's okay to honor yours, right? But understanding it first and then acknowledging that it's okay for you to recognize and to honor your particular way that you operate. So that's how I bring it into that leadership space. And then in the personal space, the same way, the capacity piece, and just bringing it in more of the personal versus the organizational language. But same expression, just two different ways.
That makes so much sense to me on the leadership side of like, I don't think, I'm not going to say never say never, but like it's
Mm.
pretty hard to be a leader if you're not self aware or an effective leader, let's say.
Hmm.
We certainly have all dealt with some
Yes,
leaders who maybe could be a little more self-aware, but and then realizing your own self and being able to see your own operating system and then recognizing how everyone's going to need, different supports and being able to, give that leadership support to others. So I love that. And I know you said maybe you kind of take the human design principles, but just like you said, like operating system versus like saying type, you kind of have the plainer language. Tell me about that,
yeah.
thought process.
So the operating system and looking at human design and our what we call our own energetic blueprint, right? Or our map. But it is all, human design is mechanics. Human design is a mechanical system. And so recognizing it as taking it from Rauru, for first said was this is a mechanical system. And if we understand that it is a mechanical system, it is a operating system in the way that we are wired to operate. So to take it just back to the original concept of it being an operating system and getting people just to understand that we operate differently, right? Because sometimes, we talk to people about, your energy and it's like, what it's so it becomes foreign to people, if that's
Mhm.
not their world, right? But
Yep.
if you understand analytics, if you understand data, if you understand production, if your mind speaks production, then you're going to speak operating system.
Yeah.
So it's putting it in a different vernacular so that it doesn't sound so taboo or so what people might want to call woo, right?
Right.
It's but it's just looking at just the mechanics of it, that it is how we are wired and just taking it back to the basics.
Sonia, this is very 5-1 of you, this explanation, and I mean that in the best way, because for those who may not be familiar with the 5-1, it's the one piece is the I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna know, like Sonia, you're speaking so like knowledgeably about all these pieces of what it is to be with leaders in these different kind of maybe more, corporate business environments, a deep understanding of human design just in a few years of study. And then the 5 is, hey guys, here's how it can impact you, and let's do it differently, and let's look at something, and let me drop this maybe kind of disruptive like solution in your lap, and like, what do you think? Here we go, So that's very exciting to me. I'm going to have my husband listen to this episode for sure, because I think
Oh,
he's very supportive of what I'm doing, but he's like, Ashley, I don't understand
I
it.
get it. He doesn't get it.
So hearing these, the way you're kind of couching it, like it is very accessible. And I think that's the key to continuing to get it in front of different audiences, because we know how valuable it can be.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
is, and it's called human design for a reason, right? We are all human. And so just getting back to the basics, but we don't know what we don't know. And so there are 8 billion people on this earth, and I'm pretty sure that not even a million know what human design is. So it is something, like you said, to make it more accessible to human, just making it more accessible.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just makes me feel so excited that, for all the ups and downs, but the time we live in of like we get to bring it to our corners of the world and then we can, just continue to have this reach and get it to more people. Like it feels exciting to me that it's
Yeah,
something it's not new, but like it's breaking through in a new way. And I think it has a lot of relevance right now in this time that we're in in our world. So well,
I
very
agree.
good.
I
Yeah.
agree wholeheartedly.
Love it. Yes. I've got a 5 in my profile too, so let's
Yes.
let's let's go.
We're gonna
Um,
change the world.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, very good. Well, does it sound good to shift and just do a little bit of light coaching together
Yeah.
today? Well, you shared a little bit about something you might be curious about focusing on, but why don't you tell me a little more about what that topic might mean to you today?
Say self I know I said something about
I loved
self-actualization.
seeing self-actualization, former teacher, Maslow. Hello, yes. What does self-actualization look like for you?
Self-actualization and what it looks like to me. It looks like me. That's what it looks like. It looks like me. It looks like a journey, I believe, and what I have come to understand and to know is that in order for us to self-actualize, is that we have to be intentional about it. It's a journey, and it doesn't just happen. We have to want to do it, and we have to be intentional about doing it if we want to do what we say we want to do, which is we all, I think, want to self-actualize. We talk about it, but no one ever actually talks about how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
know, and I even think about I'm sorry to interrupt, but, like, I just think about when I would share that hierarchy with my students, and I don't remember but it was, like, only you see some things, it's like, only, like, 5% of people will ever reach this phase or whatever, which I feel like does not really compute to me then or now, but, yeah, even well, that sounds good, but what is it? Sorry, go ahead.
Exactly. What does that mean? Like, what does it mean to self-actualize? What does that actually mean? And it's you said Maslow's hierarchy, like it's on the hierarchy, but what? And I think we get caught up in the but what because nobody talks about the but what and the how do I do that? So I can say that looking at the triangle that I have been able to get to the top of the pyramid.
I just got off a call this morning and we were talking a lot about the open will center. And I find or the open
Mm.
ego, which you have on your chart. And I find that I have not worked with an infinite number of clients. My client numbers are just getting started, but that always feels like it gets sticky to me. So I was really curious to hear your thoughts about that open center for you and this piece of self-actualization and how those play, any tension you felt there?
Yes. So for me, so my ego, that was a very big part of my healing journey, was healing that and understanding what those leaks were, where, those gaps were. And it came up in ways that I didn't expect, right? It was, and a lot of it was, or some of it wasn't even stuff that was mine. It was inherited. It was things that were put on to me that just kind of popped up in this journey. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what this is. Let's deal with it. But and because also my will, I have no energy. There's no energy going there. There's no nothing. It's just wide open. And that's my giving, right? That's my belief in self. That was my trust in myself. I know that I can do it, but it's also where I would self-abandon myself. And I would get to a
Oh,
certain point,
yeah.
stop and turn around, right? So that was and understanding how it showed up in my life. It showed up as procrastination. It showed up as me getting to a certain point and stopping. It showed up as my fear of success. And so those were things that I knew that I had a fear of success. That's the crazy thing. I knew. I've known it for years, but it was the thing that I had, one of the biggest things that I had to overcome. And because I was able to overcome it, I can be here right now talking to you and having this conversation.
Yeah, I know. I've got listeners that are going, But how? Yeah, what like, that is so beautifully said and so interesting, but yeah, like, what maybe were some things that helped you with that alignment piece or moving to wisdom?
So for instance, for the fear of success piece, because that was so big for me. So I do a lot of journaling. And it's not just journaling of, oh, this happened today. It's having those real conversations with myself. It's practicing rituals, right? It's taking care of myself.
Ugh.
It's sitting in silence. It was meditating, right? But also my sacral would kick into place. So it was also trusting the things that I was feeling inside, trusting them at the same time and following where it was taking me. Even though I didn't quite understand, I still followed it. And so this is where my trust was kicking in.
Wow, yeah.
Um, and so learning to trust myself and my voice.
Yeah, and it's like I see it being kind of like I see it as like a circle of
Mhm.
like I listen and I get quiet and I journal and then I listen to the sacral and I make a decision and I trust and then I feel more trust and then rinse and repeat.
You got it.
Mhm.
You got it. You have
Mhm.
it. And through that, it's funny that you said that about a circle and a cycle because I created a cycle. It's called the liberation cycle.
Oh my gosh.
And it's reveal, release, renew. Reveal, release, renew. So yes. And understanding that everything that we do when we heal, when we go through things, we all go life is a cycle, right? And so that is a cycle. Things get revealed to us, right? We have the choice to hopefully release it, right? And do whatever we need to do to release it so that we can renew, right? Integrate it, and then whatever else, we go through another cycle. So
Yeah.
everything is a cycle.
Think that you have and that cycle like articulates so well of just this some things I've been feeling recently that ultimately like recommit me to this work that I'm doing of like I can just get so I don't personally get exhausted, but I feel that it is exhausting to see in media how much it is looking to other people's voices to tell us what we need to do or to fix or to self actualize or to become or change. And I just feel like I continue to awaken and you just notice it in different ways than you used to. And it's like I said, it recommits me to this work because like the heart of what I want to do with this human design coaching is to empower those that I work with to trust their inner authority. And the tension is with those who may be unfamiliar with the coaching model that we use is like there still is some, but just tell me what to do. What does my human design say that I should do? Oh, well, it says you should trust yourself.
Mhm.
And that's why I think like that cycle really resonates because it isn't necessarily maybe as sexy or as glamorous as we might want it to be, but it is the way.
It is the
So,
way. Yeah.
yeah.
And I think, when it comes to people taking, journeys to healing, right? Or working on themselves, it sounds good, right? It sounds good to read the self-help book. It sounds good to say that, oh, I have a person. But are you doing the work that it
Yeah.
requires to get the actual results? Because if you're not doing the work, then you're just bypassing. So you can,
Mm,
I think people like to do the woo. They like to say, and I'll take this from a spiritual aspect. They like to say, oh, I'm spiritual. I'm on a spiritual journey or, talk the terms or to do the things. But if you haven't gone through the thing, right, then you're bypassing the work. And if you bypass the work, is going to show. It's always going to show.
yeah, I think so much of what is out there saying, just do this, is trying to bypass, is trying to avoid the pain that comes from the sort of stripping down and like letting go of the things that never did serve, no longer serve, don't align, all of that. And I mean, for me, it was kind of lonely. It was kind of scary. Like, it doesn't feel like what you think it's going to be when you say, I'm going to start meditating or I'm going to start, you know, trying this and pushing. So yeah, I think and I think you're exactly right. It shows and that's not judgment. It's just we wish we could say to you like There will be, yeah, we no more pain, but, like, the pain is the cleansing, the healing, the process.
And that's the real of it, and that's the part that's I think so many people don't want to say is and that's the honest and that as we self-actualize, those conversations get easier to have, right? When you know that this is the thing, and that's why I can say it because
Yeah,
I I can say that this is the thing, right? People are
yeah.
bypassing and
Yeah, I feel like I've grown a lot and I know there is more to grow and I still experience pain, but the light on the other side for me has been how much quieter the voice that is not me has become. I'm really in a phase right now where like it's surprising to me. Like the soul's voice is so much more present, the self, the authority versus that monkey mind or whatever you want to refer to it as to where I'm like, "Wait, where is it?" Like, "Oh, it's kind of off there in the distance." Like, I did a live coaching demonstration for my local ICF chapter, and I even said on the call, I was like, 2 years ago when I learned that we did this, I was like, "Well, I certainly am never gonna do that." And then here I found myself, and it was like leading up to that, I mean, I was a little nervous just because I wanted it to be a value and, just anytime you're kind of doing that live, there's some nerves. But
Mhm,
that voice of like, "Who do you think you are? Why would you even try this? Like, this is gonna be catastrophic," all those things that I know would have been there even just like 6 months ago, a year ago, they just were so quiet. It was just like that was pretty amazing to me. So, like, that's
yeah,
the light of that, I don't know if I'm self-actualized, but, like, I can feel the possibility of it.
mhm.
So, that feels good.
That's awesome, and that's when you
Yeah.
know that you've done some work, when you no longer that voice is,
Yeah.
it's
It's like
still there, but shut up.
yeah. And you're almost like, "Wait, where are you?" And it's like, "I'm right here." And you're like, "Okay, just
Yep,
checking, like, you're fine.
yep,
You can stay over there." Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. Oh my
That's
gosh.
beautiful.
Well, that's beautiful. Well, Sonia, thank you so much for that. And, just curious, like, well, do you feel like when you say like being self-actualized, then is
Mhm.
there more of a journey within that self-actualization? Like if I said to you, like, what's your next, small sweet step on this journey of self-actualization? Is that the right language to use or is there something more appropriate?
No, I would say so I in the hierarchy, it's called self-actualization, right? But really it's our consciousness, right? The top of the pyramid, right, opens to whatever, you
Mm.
consider your higher power, right? So being able to self-actualize, becoming one with something that is greater than yourself, right? Connected to your, creator, God, divine, whatever that you call it, but that thing that is greater than self and coming together. That's my mini
Okay.
lesson without me going too deep.
I love it.
So I could talk about this all day. So I'm
Yeah. I think you need a podcast is what I think.
I look, I have so and I'll say this, and I talk so deeply and I'm so passionate about
Mm.
human development because part of in my journey, in my of evolving, my evolution, right? The work that along with the leadership work, but the work that I was led to put out into this world is a human development system that focuses on liberation as the root, right? And centers the liberation of those that have been systematically oppressed,
Mm.
suppressed, and stories that have been stolen. Right. So it incorporates African philosophy as well as ancient wisdom into a model of human development. So much like Maslow, right? Much like a tree of life. And so incorporating all of those beautiful elements into our becoming. So it's my jam.
Yes, I can tell. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to share some of it with us. And I hope, we're going to share down below where everyone can find you. And I hope that people are inspired to follow up on what you're doing. What can you tell us about, what you're working on right now, what you're excited about? Where can we see you in action?
Well, I Last week, I did a presentation for a sorority event on stress and anxiety at a regional conference for women. So, workshops, leadership workshops, coaching, individual coaching, group coaching. I do local as well as national as well. So, I can always come to people, but I do offer a complimentary 30-minute sustainability call if anybody is interested. If anything that I said today resonated. Right. I love to continue the conversation. Yeah.
Okay, well, great, Sonia. Well, yes, we'll share all that below. It's been truly such a joy and an inspiration to talk to you today. Thank you again for taking the time. And I look forward to our next connection.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me on. This was awesome. I enjoyed our
Oh,
conversation.
great. Yes, thank you.